Hey there, beMOTION fam. Recently, my boy Jonathan Winbush over at Winbush Immersive gave me the honor of inviting me to be a part of a pilot episode for a new series that he started on his channel called Advice. I'll put a link in the description below, but if you haven't watched that yet, pause this video, open up a new web browser, and go watch his video, because the things that I'm going to say next in this video actually pertain to some of the things that were said in that video. So pause, go watch, and come back. So now that you've seen that video, I want to piggyback off of something that Matthias said about networking. I love exactly what he said and the way that he said it. If you're not networking, you're not working. Just think about that for a moment. I cannot tell you how amazingly true that statement is. And I experienced firsthand what it was like to not have a network to call upon to get work. So as some of you may or may not have heard me mention in previous videos on this channel before, I've been working in the entertainment industry for over 20 years. And in that time, I've gone from working within the studio system to moving out and getting back into production, being a freelance photographer, freelance cinematographer, editor, motion designer, 3D artist. I've worn lots of different hats, and for the last 8 years, minus last year, I've been fortunate enough to have a steady stream of work. And from 2015 to 2018, I was what's affectionately known as a permalancer, or a permanent freelancer, which is basically a freelancer that's on a long-term or an extended contract for over a year. And in my case, it was 3 years. So why would somebody be a freelancer for, in my case, 3 years? Well, my wife and I had just started a family, and we had another kid on the way. So having that stability of that constant flow of income over the course of 3 years was something that we definitely wanted and needed to have. But during that time, I stopped networking. I didn't really stay in touch with a lot of past clients or colleagues, and I didn't really develop any new contacts or leads for potential work. And most of that reason was legitimate. I had a 3 to 4 hour commute every day. Yes, you heard that right. 3 to 4 hours on the Los Angeles freeways going to and from work. So by the time the work day ended, I was just completely exhausted, and I still yet had another hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how bad the traffic was that day, to get home. So the last thing that I wanted to do was spend any kind of energy playing politics and developing relationships, because developing relationships takes a lot of emotional energy. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't understand that. It takes a lot of work to develop a rapport with colleagues, as well as building these friendships and these relationships. And there's a lot of interpersonal communication that's going on as well too, and all of that takes a lot of energy. And so when you don't have any energy, the last thing that you want to do is go to a club or a bar, or getting drinks or getting dinner with somebody and spending more time trying to expend or trying to put more energy into developing these contacts. And at some level, I didn't feel like I needed to do that, because I had this steady stream of income, and I didn't really want to jeopardize that. So I would go home, see my family for a little bit, and go to bed, and get up the next day and start everything all over again. And it didn't help that what I didn't know is that I had severe sleep apnea. So the quality of sleep that I was getting at night was not very good, which also contributed to the exhaustion that I felt at early in the afternoon, let alone the rest of the night when I had to drive home. So for 3 years, I did no networking. And at the end of 2018, I found myself without a job. So I sent out resumes and I applied for jobs, and I barely got any response. So as a means to an end, to just get the bills paid and to get some cash flow coming in, I decided that I would sign up to work for a staffing agency for creatives. I want to stop right here and say, at some point later on, I'm going to make a longer video, or a video dedicated specifically to working for a staffing agency, as well as the pros and the cons of working for said staffing agency, and hopefully provide you with some information to avoid some of the pitfalls that I think exist in an environment like that. So it deserves its own video. So out of the gate, this staffing agency placed me with an advertising agency, and I thought, wow, my jobless woes are over now. I have a steady stream of income. Well, that job only lasted for a couple of weeks. So fast forward to April, I went to NAB to speak for Boris FX. And while I was at NAB, I had the opportunity of getting to meet Joey Joey from School of Motion. And I was reminded that actually Joey wrote a book called the Freelance Manifesto that I had actually never read. And so I thought, well, now that I'm a freelancer in the traditional sense of the word, maybe I should read the book and see if there's any information in the book that I could pull out and use to become a more successful freelancer. I've put a link in the description below to that book, and I highly recommend the book, and not because I hope that you would click on the link to buy it. If you are thinking about, or if you are going to be a freelancer, you need to read this book. There is a lot of really great information in there that will help you on your freelance journey. So after reading Joey's book and talking to other MoGraph artists like Octane Jesus himself, David Ariev, I realized I needed to rebuild my network. And what better way to rebuild your network than to go to meetups? And so I made an effort to get back to going to things like DMA LA, which is Digital Media Artists of Los Angeles. There's also one in Orange County as well too. And I decided to go to both of those, and I started to meet new people and make friends with other artists who would then potentially throw work my way. So fast forward 5 more months. After going to meetups and meeting lots of other artists and creatives, things started to change. In fact, I took a very specific piece of information from the Freelance Manifesto in terms of building a portfolio website that's simple, that's easy, that's a quick, catchy name, and I decided to break out my demo reel into 2D animation and 3D animation, as well as some editing samples on my website as well too. Within 24 hours of launching that website, I was booked on a job. From that time into the end of the year, there has been a steady flow of work. And now that we're in the new year, things have continued to stay at a steady pace in terms of getting a consistent flow of work coming my way. So what does that story have to do with anything about networking? And the answer is, it's not just about who you know, it's about who knows you. And it's hard sometimes as a creative because most creatives are introverts, and so it's unnatural for them to share any aspects of their personal life to somebody that they don't know. So it can be a balancing act. Am I being too personable? Am I relaying too much personal information to this person that doesn't really know me? Am I sounding too needy? A lot of these thoughts and things go through your head as you're building these relationships, and that's natural. It's a natural aspect of just daily interpersonal communication. At its core, creativity as a business is sales. It's not just about selling your abilities, it's about selling yourself. Are you a cool, fun person to work with? Because, I mean, the reality is we all enjoy working with cool and fun people. We, especially as creatives, we want people to like us. We want people to like our work. We want people to like what we do. We're seeking that approval every day in every aspect of our jobs. And sometimes it takes just a little bit of extra effort to let people know that we are that fun, cool person that could fit into their studio or boutique agency or whatever it is. Also, being passionate is a highly attractive, energetic, and magnetic personality trait. So sometimes it's just as simple as talking about what you're passionate about. So I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm gonna make another video or two to expand upon some of the things that the other people said. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that little bell icon to be notified when that content comes around so you can be aware of it and watch that content. So if this information has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up, hit that little thumbs up button. Let me know in the comments below What are some of your networking tips? Are you networking? And if you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions at all, you can obviously leave those in the comments below, but you can also contact me on the various different social media networks. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. That's it for now. Thanks again for stopping by the channel. Until the next video, peace.
Where my glitches at?
What?
Where my glitches at?
What?
Where my glitches at?
They're right here.
Where my glitches at?
What?
Where my glitches at?
What?
Where my glitches at?
They're right here.
Where my glitches at?
What?
Where my glitches at?
What?
Where my glitches at?
They're right here.
Where my